What's going on YouTube? JT's Reborn here, and welcome to a something video. I don't even know what I'm going to title this. Not necessarily a review or just kind of an overall discussion on Godzilla Singular Point. I just went ahead and I finished the whole 13 episodes of the first season, and just want to give a quick little impression on the series. So we got Godzilla vs. Kong earlier this year. That was a pretty big deal. We got some Godzilla comics, and now we have Godzilla Singular Point, which made its U.S. Worldwide debut on Thursday. And I just wanted to talk about it because it's quite a fascinating series. So, 13 episodes, season 1. What did I think of Godzilla Singular Point? Overall, I did enjoy it. There's some likable characters. There's some really gorgeous looking animation. I mean, the animation in this thing is spectacular all the way through. There's some pretty likable characters. May is one of them. The main scientist guy who was building Jet Jaguar. Jet Jaguar is awesome in this, by the way. Jet Jaguar is the heart and soul of this entire first season. I love everything to do with Jet Jaguar. There's an interesting mystery going on in this time. You don't necessarily know what's going to happen, and that's both a pro and a con in a sense because, well, the show gets kind of confusing at times. But yes, there's some great looking animations, some great creature designs that are sprinkled throughout, plenty of references to a lot of the older films. And it's just a really fascinating take on Godzilla. So it's definitely kind of gets a little bit of Shin Godzilla inspired, but kind of pushes things further. Shin Godzilla, one of my main issues with that series was I think it spent a little bit too much time just kind of on expositionary science dump stuff with a lot of the human characters, and they were never really too involved in the action. This kind of fixes some of that and actually puts the characters like in the action a lot more. But there is, and this is kind of like the biggest con of this whole first season, there's so much science babble, like expositionary kind of dumping bits of knowledge that it gets really confusing and kind of hard to follow. And I'm not the only person who said this. A lot of people have said this online where they don't necessarily know what the hell is happening half the time. And that's kind of me. Like, I'm just kind of getting to the end results, and I'm enjoying some of the kaiju stuff, and I like the cast of characters that they have involved in this thing, but it just gets awfully, like, really confusing as to what's happening, where they try and explain the science stuff, and I know this is kind of an issue with the Japanese versions, too, because obviously you got the English stuff, and they try to simplify a lot of things a bit, but it just gets way too confusing from time to time again, and you're just wondering half the time what the hell is actually happening on this show. And that was kind of me for most of it. And even Godzilla, like, I liked, Godzilla's design was pretty unique. Like, it definitely had the Shin elements of evolving from, like, earlier forms to a different form. I like the design. It's not my favorite Godzilla design. Like, part of its, like, face made me think of, I don't know, if you remember, like, Fatso the Ghost from, like, Casper, like, just the way his face was kind of designed, like, he had the big, like, grin or something like that. I don't know, just kind of bits like that. That's just kind of something that I just thought of when I watched the series. But yeah, so Godzilla's design is pretty, like, interesting. The atomic breath is kind of cool, like how it kind of has like a ring, like it's a bit like Minion. It's like breaking some sort of dimensional rift or something. I think that's where Godzilla and them are coming from. They're implying that they're from like hell or something, unless I kind of missed something, because, well, quite frankly, this show is confusing. It's definitely not straightforward. It's the total opposite of Godzilla vs. Kong, where that movie was so simplified that it almost became like there wasn't really, really made you think at all. Just like, okay, here you go. It's so simplified, like anybody can kind of figure out what's happening in there. This one's like the total polar opposite, where you're wondering half the time, trying to understand the science. And like, I'm trying to write, like, I feel like in my head, I'm writing all this down, and I don't know what the hell is happening for most of it. And you're just left wondering, oh no, I've gone cross-eyed, kind of like that Austin Powers clip. It just gets really awfully confusing, and I think that kind of hurts the series a little bit too, and a little bit too much expositionary science babble, and that to me is the biggest issue with this thing. It's a little bit too much. Probably could have streamlined a lot of it, simplified it a little bit, but it really just kind of pushes things further and further and further, to the point where by the end, Godzilla shows up, and I'm like, I don't even know what's happening. I see Godzilla fighting Jet Jaguar, like, I'll just take it for what it's worth. So it definitely merits a rewatch to kind of understand what the hell was happening for most of it. Is it the best Godzilla product to come out of the past few years? Not in my opinion, but it still is a good one. I'm definitely excited to see what they do with the potential season 2, which, there's kind of an end credits sequence of this season teasing what's going to happen for a season 2. and I'm all for it. And I liked kind of like some of the new abilities that Godzilla has this time around. Like his blood kind of it like takes on a life of its own. It starts to kind of morph into some really nightmarish looking things. And another thing that's great is the music. Definitely a lot of classic Ifukube stuff, and definitely some new stuff kind of incorporated into it, like a nice clever blend of old and new. And the music is fantastic. When you hear those classic Godzilla bits, you're just like, wow, this is great. Like I said, this is not an easy show to follow, and that's kind of saying something considering like all the other Godzilla stuff before, because I had followed the other stuff quite a bit, but like this one was the first time I'm watching something I'm like, what the hell is even happening at this point? But I still enjoyed it. I had fun with Godzilla Singular Point. It's 13 episodes for season 1. I look forward to seeing what they have next. I mean, this is definitely a huge improvement over the anime trilogy, because the anime trilogy is not good at all. I've given that thing so many chances, and every single time it just does not live up to it for me. This is more up my alley. Like I said, I like the characters more. I love the beautiful looking animations. There's some personality. Jet Jaguar is great. Like a fantastic showing for Jet Jaguar in this series. Jet Jaguar is the heart of, season 1. Like, you just love Jet Jaguar. I like the little, like May's little artificial intelligence she has. It's kind of like, quirky, kind of adorable stuff. Some of the characters are lesser than the others. There's, I'm trying to remember everyone's name. The main head of like the Otaki place, like that crazy kind of old guy was great. I like him and May were probably my two favorites. The other main guy, like who just, was it Yoon or something? Sorry, I'm trying to remember everyone's names. He was okay. Definitely not on the level of like some of the other characters, but he worked just fine. But definitely a lot more personality and intriguing human characters, I'd say, than a lot of the more recent Godzilla stuff. Definitely more interesting than anyone in Shin Godzilla, and certainly the anime trilogy. In terms of the MonsterVerse versions, like there's some MonsterVerse characters I actually like more because, well, they have other things kind of going on in their lives outside of just the stuff focused on Godzilla and all that kind of makes some of them a little bit more interesting per se. Like there's some like, other human drama. Here it's just kind of solving what's going on with all this red dust stuff and all that, which is fine. Like they have a goal and they're trying to achieve, but sometimes you wish there was kind of a little bit more, going around it. Because I think the Showa series did this quite a bit where they did it really well. Where like, let's just say, for example, in like Ghidorah the three-headed monster, you have the main Godzilla plot with, Ghidorah and all that, but you also have like this whole plot line with the police guy like Shindo and trying to rescue like a princess from like this assassin group or whatever. Like I kind of like that. That to me makes the humans a little bit more interesting. Or Godzilla versus the Sea Monster like has some interesting stuff going on with a lot of the human stuff there. Here it's just, kind of more akin to Shin Godzilla, although they're more interesting people to follow and kind of likable. So maybe because we have more time with them, and maybe it's just the anime like design and all that, just kind of like the colors are really bright and welcoming. There's just something about that just connects to me more than if this were, say, directed live action. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the designs. Maybe it's because I just love, beautiful looking animation. But that's kind of that. Godzilla himself, it takes a long time for Godzilla to kind of show up in this thing. I mean, we get Rodan kind of early on, or like the thousands of different Rodans. We get some interesting takes on some of the characters. Godzilla takes a little bit to, kind of come in and factor that. I mean, early on, you kind of see him like his bones and that. But then he kind of like morphs and all this other stuff. And like I said, I'm confused by what the hell is happening. I just kind of look at the end results of, Godzilla faces off against Jet Jaguar, who for some reason turns giant and all that other stuff. Like I said, I was confused as hell as to what was really kind of happening for a lot of this thing. I still enjoyed it, but definitely going to need a rewatch. And I'm not alone in saying that because a lot of people have been kind of confused as to like half the shit that happens in this thing, where like a lot of it just doesn't really add up, or it's just kind of confusing. It's like you know what it is? It's like you're sitting in a lecture for class and you miss one thing. Like you kind of like there and you're kind of like losing maybe a little bit of interest. You kind of like daydream, think about something, and the teacher calls on you and asks you to remember everything that just happened. You're just like, so that's kind of how it is with Singular Point, where it just kind of gets to the point where you're just like, can you please just simplify this thing? Is this going to be on the next test? That's kind of my main gripe with the series overall. But, we'll see what they do with a potential season 2. And really, for the first time in a long, long time, there's no new Godzilla movie or really shows. I mean, Singular Point seems to be a given for a season 2, and maybe they might already be working on it. But for the first time in a really, really long time, we don't know what's next for Godzilla. I don't know. Probably Singular Point Season 2. We don't know much on the movie front. Yeah, there's some comics that'll come out that IDW is making, but really, the first time in so long, we don't know movie-wise what's going to happen with Godzilla. I mean, we knew after 2014 they wanted to make two things with Legendary. You know, obviously Toho made Shin Godzilla as kind of little film to fill in the gap, and they did the anime trilogy as well. But after Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla Singular Point, who knows what's next for Godzilla? I'd love a new video game, by the way, like something for the PS5 when I can eventually get one, or that would be great. I think we're long overdue for a new Godzilla video game. I mean, Godzilla vs. Kong to me was like prime for like a video game of some sorts. Yeah, there's like Godzilla attractions in that, and then we have Singular Point, which I feel like could run for a few seasons. Like they took some of the Godzilla lore and did some interesting twists with it. And I'm intrigued to see where we can go from here with it. So definitely going to give it a rewatch soon, probably next week. But yeah, so I don't know what's next. And that's both exciting and kind of like, because like we were kind of at this, we had like the security blanket where we knew like we were getting more Godzilla stuff. And we will. I mean, it's pretty much given. I mean, look how much money GBK has made. And it's still going to open up in Japan and like next week or something. But I don't know what's next. And, you know, maybe we take a few years off or something. I don't quite know. Hopefully they announce a season 2 of Singular Point, because you can't not do a season 2 at this point, I mean, based on that ending. But I just don't know what's next for Godzilla. And that has, like I said, that has me a little bit, like, at the same time, like, maybe we could use a little bit of a breather, but at the same time, I like having something to look forward to. So it's all just up in the air at this point. I hope Legendary gets to make more movies with them. I know he's got that Skull Island anime series, and I'm sure they'll have some more comics, but I really hope Toho renews the deal. I feel like we got kind of the best of both worlds with what Legendary and Toho are doing. Legendary, to me, is doing more of the traditional Godzilla, and Toho's getting really weird and crazy experimental with Godzilla and kind of taking things in a new, unique, interesting direction. To me, it's like we get the classic, and then we get the new kind of like creative stuff with Toho. I didn't like the anime trilogy, but you know, they were experimenting, trying to do new things, so I gotta give props for that. Singular Point's the same thing, and Shin Godzilla. Crazy new takes on Godzilla. Although I do kind of wish that we kind of could get some more personality out of Godzilla, because I feel like they've kind of taken away a lot of like what made Godzilla unique sometimes in some of the older films. Hopefully we can kind of shift it, because Legendary kind of has a bit of personality. I mean, he fucking smiles, and he has an evil laugh when he hits Kong, so at least there's that. But I'd like some more like fun, crazy, like Showa stuff with Godzilla in the near future, instead of just everything kind of Shin from Toho. So we'll see what they do, but I'm excited to see what's next for Godzilla. And yeah, it was Singular Point Season 1. It's a pretty good first season. Could use some improvement on some things, maybe simplify things a little bit more. But overall, I quite enjoyed myself watching Godzilla Singular Point. I look forward to watching it again. So, yeah, these are my impressions on Godzilla Singular Point Season 1. What did you think of it? Tell me what you thought of it in the comment section down below. I got some more videos coming out this week. I got to catch up on some comic book reviews. I'm a little bit behind on that because I went on vacation this week. But now that I'm back, I'm feeling recharged, rejuvenated, and I'm ready to talk some more stuff, like some more Godzilla comics, more DC comics. Probably gonna do some more Godzilla related videos. Again, I don't think I'll title this a review. It's just like Godzilla Singular Point Season 1 impressions or something like that. Because I do, like, if I'm going to review it, I want to kind of go episode by episode. Because this is just kind of my initial watch, just kind of watch through. And then if I'm going to review it, I want to do it a second time. Because, like I said, it's kind of sensory overload with all the information that's kind of thrown at you. So, yeah, but thank you all so much for watching. Like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, and look forward to more stuff coming out very soon whenever I get to it. All right, that's all I got to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.